Right now, there's a serious pension problem leaving hundreds of Minnesotans' retirements at risk.
Rena Sargentopoulos shows us what's going on, who's affected, and why some worry there's not enough being done.
We've been 6 months in limbo, not knowing, and it's been so stressful for so many people.
Last October, some 1,400 employees in the St. Cloud Catholic Diocese got a letter. Their pension fund, run by Christian Brothers Services out of Illinois, was significantly underfunded, $35 million underfunded, and unable to meet long-term obligations.
Opening that letter, I have lost a lot of sleep, to be honest. I've lost weight. I've just been kind of a wreck.
Mary spent nearly her whole career as a teacher in the diocese, and now she's one of nearly 300 employees, including administrators, youth ministers, and other lay people who have formed a group to advocate for themselves.
The present employees who've been working for 25, 30, or some even 40 years and are looking at retirement, they're going to be even in worse shape than we will be. And that's not right. That's not right.
The group has asked for 4 things. Most importantly, to make sure the pensions are fully funded and that people are made whole. They want listening sessions, a seat at the table where decisions are being made, and transparent communication, none of which they say has happened.
One thing that the diocese has said consistently from when they first started communicating with those of us affected is, we didn't know. If they didn't know, they should have known.
How does something like $35 million go missing? These are the same questions we're asking Christian Brothers.
Vicar General Father Scott Pogachnik says he understands how difficult and scary this is for those impacted, but maintains the diocese didn't know there was a problem to this degree.
When 180 organizations learn this news at the exact same time, it tells us it's not those organizations that were missing something, it's that the reporting, that communication was not clear.
And that's where this gets even more complicated. This isn't just happening in St. Cloud. 180 employers and 40,000 employees across the country found out about the shortfall at the same time. In total, Christian Brothers has an $800 million gap between assets and liabilities. The New Ulm and Crookston dioceses, along with St. Mary's University, are also affected. So, how did this happen? Especially at a time when the stock market has been going gangbusters in the last 3 years. We reached out to Christian Brothers, who issued a statement saying in part they never fully recovered from the Great Recession of 2008. And, quote, there are far more retirees than active workers contributing into the system. This is a chart of funding history given to us by Christian Brothers. You can see the dip in 08-09, but take a look at the dip in 2020. Yes, COVID, but also the pension plan lost nearly $150 million that year because of, quote, a reckless strategy by German-based Allianz Global Investors. Christian Brothers sued Allianz, and there was a settlement in 2021. When asked how much they got back or if it had an effect on this shortfall, they said this. The terms of the settlement are subject to confidentiality restrictions. The impact of the Allianz losses and subsequent settlement are incorporated into the plan's net returns.
I think last time I checked, there was only 15% of private companies that are still offering pensions today.
Thomas Schrank, certified financial planner with Northwestern Mutual, says pensions are still popular with unions and government agencies, but says there are fewer of them privately because, well, they are expensive to keep going, especially because people are living longer. But there is usually a safety net in place if a pension fund fails.
There's a pension benefit guarantee corporation, PBGC, that these pension funds will just pay a premium into. That's why they're giving you the guarantee, is it's backed by this third party. So if a pension does terminate or freezes, then PBGC can come in and make people whole.
This situation is different, though. Churches are not subject to the same federal protections, leaving the shortfall squarely on the shoulders of the churches and schools impacted. Those employers were given options: stay with Christian Brothers and make large contributions for the next 25 years in order to erase the shortfall, or spin off the pension fund and take it over themselves. And that is what St. Cloud has chosen.
We are working to remedy this in every way possible. And that's still what we're holding ourselves to, is to be able to provide the full benefits to these people who are like my brothers and sisters. These are employees of the schools I've had to run, and these are employees of my offices, current and retired.
Father Pogachnik says all options are on the table, knowing it won't be just one thing that will fix the problem. But that still leaves retirees right now wondering about their futures.
I worry constantly about how I'm going to manage if they cut all that. Sorry, I'm going to get emotional about it because it's so scary for me.
And as time ticks by, the Pension Concerns Group worries legal action against the diocese will be their only recourse.
We do not want to go down that avenue. Everyone loses that way. But we also want to fight for what's right.
Father Pogachnik would not say if the diocese planned to sue Christian Brothers, only that every option was on the table. Both the diocese and the Pension Concerns Group have websites dedicated to this, and we do have links to them on this story at care11.com.
Well, you sure understand the emotion and the fear.
Absolutely.
Right now, are they receiving the payments in full as they always have, or are they already receiving a reduced pension?
No, right now everybody has been paid. All obligations have been met. The spinoff has already taken place, and there is now another company that is taking care of this. However, there is still that massive gap, and the church is trying to figure out, the diocese is trying to figure out, each one of these schools across the state are trying to figure out, how do we cover that? How do we make people whole? There isn't going to be just one answer. It will take a lot to figure this out.
And we don't know if they got any money from that lawsuit.
We do know they got some money, but we do know that they can't say how much it was, so we don't know how much of an impact it was. So it's
Well, that'd
just
be a great story to follow, really great story to report on, and you did a great job explaining it, but man, your heart goes out to them.
It does, absolutely.
All right, thank you, Rena.